So, chapter 2. Mr. Harpel greeted us at the door. Welcome, welcome to room 15, Myron. His voice was loud. He was tall and round. He had a bushy beard and shiny shoes. His shoes had no laces. My shoes don't have laces either. Laces come loose and then my shoes slip off my feet. I wonder if Mr. Harpel had the same problem. Mom squeezed my pinky. I'll pick you up at the end of the day. I squeezed back. Mom left. Mr. Harple smiled at me. Welcome, Myron. Come in. 4, I said. Sorry, Mr. Harple said. You said welcome 4 times, I said. When someone says something over and over again, it's called repeating. People repeat themselves when they are really serious or really nervous. Good detectives always notice when people repeat themselves. Yes.
My screen went black.
Okay. Well, it's okay. You may have to just leave and come back. You're right, he laughed. I guess I want you to feel very welcome. You're the first one to arrive. You've got the place to yourself. Everyone called my new classroom room 15. That's because there was a sign on the door that said room 15. I had visited room 15 with Mom and Dad last week before school started. It wasn't like a regular classroom. There were no desks in rows and no chalkboards at the front. It was like a living room. There was a couch in one corner with cushions. The carpet had red and yellow circles. Against one wall there was a bookcase packed with books and board games. A round table stood in the center of the room. There were also 4 desks, one for each student in the class. Room 15 was not my only classroom. In the afternoon, I would go to a different one. It was called my regular classroom. I visited that classroom last week too. It had desks and a chalkboard. It also had more kids, and it had another teacher, Mrs. Chu. She was old. She was probably a grandmother. I wanted to stay in room 15 all day, but Mom said I needed to be in Mrs. Chu's classroom sometimes. Mrs. Chu's classroom did not have couches. It would have other children I did not know. Thinking about Mrs. Chu's class got my brain itching again. Mr. Put an orange folder on each of the desks in room 15. Today, Myron, we are just going to get to know each other, he said. We'll play some games and a shrill scream came. A shrill scream outside the classroom made us both jump. What was that? Mr. Harple said. I followed him into the hallway. The scream sounded like it came from the room down the hall, I said. That's the kitchen. Good hearing, Myron. My dad says I have better hearing than an owl, I said. That's impossible, but he means I hear very well. Did you know that an owl can use its ears to pinpoint the exact location of a mouse in under a second? I didn't know that. I was going to tell Mr. Hubble more about owls, because I like them and know a lot about them. For instance, they swallow their prey whole and then throw up the bones and fur. These are called owl pellets, and you can find them if you walk in the forest where owls live. I didn't tell Mr. Harple this because he had gone into the kitchen and would not have heard me. I followed him. The room looked like a kitchen made for twins. There were 2 of everything. There were 2 stoves, 2 fridges, 2 microwave ovens, and 2 sinks. 2 metal tables stood in the middle of the room. They were covered in food. Uncooked pasta spilled out from ripped open bags. Shredded cheese, cheddar cheese coated the floor. White flour lay in piles on the table and was spread across the floor. In all that mess stood the school chef. Her apron was stained with red splotches and white flour smears. She wore an earring shaped like a little yellow school bus in each ear. The school bus on her left ear was upside down, so the wheels were pointing to the sky instead of the ground. Everything all right, Mrs. Peterson? Mr. Harple said. Mr. Harple asked the woman with the school bus earrings. I thought that was a strange question. Mrs. Peterson would not have screamed if everything were all right. Clearly something was not right. But sometimes people, even teachers, ask silly questions. Everything is most definitely not all right, Mrs. Peterson replied. I had the morning snack laid out on the table ready for the kids. I stepped out of the room for 1 minute, and when I got back, this is what I found. She waved her hand at the food splattered all over the kitchen. Whoever did this made a real mess, Mr. Harple said. That mess was going to be lunch, but I can clean that up, said Mrs. Peterson. I'm upset about the morning snacks. They're gone. We've been robbed. Okay, so let's think. So, let's think about what is happening in our book so far. What is going on? What is happening? We've laid out what? Kason, what's going on? What's happening?
That somebody made a mess in the kitchen.
Okay, somebody made a mess in the kitchen, right? Somebody made a mess in the kitchen. Do we know who made the mess?
No.
Nope, we don't know who made the mess. So this is our mystery, right? We have no idea who made the mess. We just know there is a mess in the kitchen.
School kitchen.
All right, so let's make so this is for West.
Do we have to grab our book?
Nope, I'm gonna write this one. This is snack.
To make you stop eating.
Yeah, so you're not gonna do this one with me. I'll do this one, and then you're actually gonna be doing a plot mountain for your own, for your mystery club books, right? The books that I assigned yesterday. So you'll be doing plot mountain for those books. I'm gonna do plot mountain for this one. You're good, Bianca. All right, so West Meadows Detectives Snack Snatcher. So the first thing I'm gonna start with
Playing. It's class time.
is my hook. So what was our hook at the very beginning of the book? So let me go back. What's the hook?
Everything was new.
Everything was new. New shirt, new shoes, new school. So we know everything is new. Okay, we know everything is new. New shirt, new shoes, new school. And we know Myron, he doesn't like what?
He doesn't like new.
He doesn't like new, right? He's like, I don't like new. I don't like that everything is new. So our hook is going to be, let me write a different color. Everything was new, and Myron doesn't like new. So we know, well, everything's new and Myron doesn't like new. Well, we know that that has to end with something not good, right? Because we're like, well, if he doesn't like new things, then that's not going to end well. What about our characters, setting, and then problem, okay? So who are our characters? Who are our characters so far? Who are some of our characters so far? Grace, who are some of our characters so far? Myron.
His mom.
Mom.
Sister.
Who else? Katya.
Baby.
His baby sister. Who else? There's a few more people.
Dad.
We haven't been introduced to Dad yet. Tristan, who else? What about the teacher?
Mr.
Harple. Okay. What about Mrs. Who's the lunch lady? That we just were introduced to at the very end. Grace, who was the lunch lady that we were just introduced to at the very end?
Miss Peterson.
Miss Peterson. Okay. What about my setting? Where has all of this taken place so far?
School.
School.
Where's all of it taking place? Do you remember the name of the school?
Is it a
West
Meadows?
West Meadows, right? That's the name of the school. And so for setting, I'm actually just going to put West Meadows School. I'm not going to put specifically the classroom, but do y'all remember what the classroom's called? The main classroom that he's been in so far. It had a name.
15.
What was it, Bella?
Room 15.
Room 15, okay? I think it's going to be important that we know that, so I'm going to write that down. All right, what about our problem? What happened? Dimitri, what just happened? Dimitri, what just happened?
The lunch lady went out of the lunchroom, but when she came back, yeah, she found a big mess.
Okay, so she found a big mess, but somebody did what? What's the big thing? She said it at the very end. Look, I'm gonna go
Sorry,
back.
I forgot.
No, it's okay. You're very close, Dimitri. So the lunch lady left. Somebody did what? I'm upset about the morning snacks. They're gone. We've been
Somebody
robbed.
stole them.
Somebody stole them, right? Someone stole the morning snacks. Someone stole the morning snacks and made a mess. Okay, someone stole the morning snacks and they made a mess. Okay, so my next one is my rising action. Do I have any events yet for my rising action? Do I have any events yet for my rising action?
No.
Why, Gabriel? We were just introduced to what?
An event.
What were we? Okay, an event, but what kind of event? We were just introduced to
The problem.
the problem. So since we were just introduced to the problem, we're not going to have any rising action just yet. Okay, or any rising actions. Let me put an S on it. We're not going to have any just yet because we were just introduced to the problem. All right. So this is our West Meadows detective, the case of the snatcher. So this is our read aloud. So we're gonna stop with that, but we're actually gonna